everybody, this is Graham, also known as the Collector 75. Welcome to another Transformers Marvel UK Generation 1 comics review. This is part 24 and we're going from issue number 221 right up to about probably 230. Unless of course I get through them quite quick, then I might do a couple more, but you'll find out when you get to the end of the video. There we go. Right, so here we are with issue number 221, 10th of June 1989. Still at 38 pence. And now, considering I think it's a little bit of a rip-off, I remember thinking right around now, because obviously now we're still with the 3 stories. We have 2 Transform stories and the 1 backup strip, and here we have the continuation of Skid's, yeah, with his dealing with those monsters from, yeah, the Limbo Dimension, that was it. So anyway, so we're going to come to more of the the first story here, which is a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, right, so we have the Aspects of Evil storyline coming up. What was it? Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, so the Aspects of Evil storyline coming up. That looks pretty good. I remember looking forward to that, and there were some quite good stories coming out of that as well. Right, so here we go. Now, as you can see, it was starting. The comic was starting to decline. So the only colour strip was the reprinted material, which we're starting to get here, which was okay because obviously maybe newer readers hadn't read some of these stories. So that's what that was their explanation anyway. So obviously we got Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive back from issue 113. We're not going to go into the storyline because if you want to watch that, it's obviously in that video back there. So there we go, and then we get onto the survivors, and of course all these monsters are still trying to kill Skids. I think they need to kill him to exist properly in this dimension, something like that. I can't really remember. And obviously there's Springer and whatever they've met up, and they're trying to help him kill them. And I believe it takes the Carnavac and Cantilla to come along and just actually dispose of them, because the Autobots don't want to kill them for some reason. I can't really remember right why exactly. We've got more Dread Tidings, Stock Exchange, Constructicons and Scourge, Swap Overbite, Cosmos, Ratchet and Soundwave. Not sure about that one. And then we've got more A to Z. We've got Onslaught and Outback. I don't think they ever got through the A to Z. Still, there we go. Let's have a look. We've got the Mighty Marvel checklist. We've got Action Force, and we've got an advert for Action Force on the back there, and the usual just 2 pictures for the next week, which is a bit of a cop-out if you want my opinion. Right, so we go issue number 222, and a nice decent cover there with Springer and Carnavac there, showing that it's him who disposes of all those monsters. There we go. Anything on there? No. Just next week we start with the Aspects of Evil storyline, taken from, is it Andrew Lloyd Webber's thing, Aspects of Love or something like that? I can't remember. Anyway, so continuing with the reprint material there, which was Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive, and that was a great story. That was a fantastic story, and I love Jeff Senior's artwork there. Loved it, absolutely brilliant. More A to Z, got up to P now, Perceptor and Pipes, the graphic novel, William Tell. Yeah. Survivors Part 4. It shows now they've just met up. This has been brilliant if this had been coloured in. Black and white never really did it for me, unfortunately. It's just a shame this comic declined the way it did. There we go. And so these are all the survivors. We have Carnavac and Catilla, and I think... No, I can't remember now. Don't worry about that. So we've got more Dread Tidings. The Mighty Marvel checklist. Real Ghostbusters 3, number 53. Do you experience feelings of dread on your skateboard? Well, Peter Venkman does in this week's issue. Oh my god. Action Force. And an advert there for the Micro Masters. And the next issue bit. Right, so here we go with issue number 223. A nice cover there by Jeff Senior. His arm looks a little bit short, doesn't it? Yeah. Shame. Anyway, I do like Jeff Senior's work. Actually, no, the cover art says Jeff Anderson. That ain't Jeff Anderson, surely. That can't be Jeff Anderson. That don't look nothing like that. Anyway, I digress. That's got to be Jeff Senior. Anyway, back with the reprint material here. We go. Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive from issue 114. And then we come to the new story, which is Aspects of Evil, Part 1. This just deals with how certain kinds of evil, how certain evil Decepticons were evil. Some had different aspects of their evil, like Scorponok here was just cunning. I believe he's on the run after trying to usurp the leadership of the Decepticons, and he uses the Autobot code against the Autobots because he lets Hot Rod here take him prisoner, and therefore he can't let his prisoner be injured or something like that, and so some other Decepticons are here to actually take him out from Megatron or something like that. And Hot Rod has to protect him, so he gets him to fight his battle for him. He fights it, and Scorponok just does a runner. And there you go, that's it, Autobot, do your duty. Ha 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 ha. And that's it, and then there we go, see? And then we see this guy. Now, this guy, I don't know who he is. This is Rodimus Prime telling the story from the year 2356, and he's not exactly great. I think at the time he was just a little bit under the weather. It looked like he was dying. Not totally sure on that one. So we have this guy, and he wants to find out for some reason exactly why these guys are evil. And I think he just wants to get to one person who's going to be the last guy in the storyline. I think there was a load of fan sort of things about who this guy actually was, and I think one fandom he was Tarantulas from Beast Wars. I could be wrong. I'm not totally sure, but it was something like that anyway. So we got an advert here for the classic Pretenders. I had Starscream. I do have all these now, but the only one I ever got at the time was Starscream. Don't ask me why. Just it was probably the only actual big Pretender that I had. But we want more A to Z, Power Glide and Predaking. Yeah, there we go. We're just gonna. Oh yeah, there we go. Weetabix, and then another good artwork there by Jeff Senior. This time it's actually Galvatron, the subject of Aspects of Evil this week, and how he basically tries to goad who are the Sleaze brothers. Exactly, that was a good comic, I like that. So Galvatron, how I believe this takes part. Yes, this actual storyline takes part as soon as they return from Rodimus returns to his own time from the end of Time Wars, and he steps back in, and now it's a recreated reality where Galvatron never did actually go back in time, and now Galvatron is running amok and it reigns supreme, and the Autobots are really on the run. And he's there, just killed Blur there, he's ripped off his head. And he goads Rodimus into attacking him because he knows if he can get all that aggression out of Rodimus, it will turn the Matrix evil, allowing Galvatron to possess it or something like that, but he doesn't let him in the end. And he says, and he wants to know who this is, and he says, calm, I will tell you the next person. It's Shockwave and his cold logic. Combat Colin, unfortunately now, is in black and white. That's a shame. More Dread Tidings, Action Force. Going to go for the next issue, and that is Shockwave. Yeah, don't ask me, my camera's a bit strange. It only lets me record 8 minutes and 20 seconds before I have to stop it and start again. Completely nuts. Still, there we go. That's why there's usually a break in my videos. Usually it's a bit annoying. Anyway, right, it's a nice cover there. I like that one. That's probably by Jeff Anderson. That looks like Jeff Anderson's artwork. Here we go. A calculator. 97.5 probability of the immediate termination of Fleshlings. I do like Shockwave. And I think also, apart from the storyline, he was trying to do something different with the storyline, because obviously he's only had a few limited pages to work with. He's probably trying to bring back some of those classic characters that everybody loves, especially which they did with his latest sequel to this, which was Perchance to Dream. Anyway, right, so here we go. What was this one then? Was this Headhunt? I don't know, I didn't really get too much further through Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive there. I only got 2 issues in. Anyway, so we come to Aspects of Evil. This is Shockwave, how he uses cold logic to work out the best ways of killing all the Autobots. We're a failed raid on Cybertron. And it takes Hot Rod's unpredictability to defeat him. Yes, very fascinating, Rodimus Prime, but what about... Yes, I know, student, I know, but before I tell you of him, you must learn the coldest, most ruthless Decepticon of all, Megatron. It's quite a good storyline. I'll come to that in a second. And we have Megatron there. Yeah, and more adverts. And here we have issue 226, Megatron. And this is not a too bad storyline. Here we go. I believe after this story we have a really bad run of US strip, the final issues of Bob Budinsky, or however you pronounce his name. And he really just couldn't be bothered, which was a shame. Dread Tidings, Sleaze Brothers. So we have Megatron. This storyline is basically that there's a traitor in Megatron's midst. He lets someone go, and he's whittled it down to 4 Decepticons. You've got this guy, I can't remember his name, and you've got the small Decepticon pretenders, Bludgeon, Octopunch and Stranglehold, and he knows it's one of them. And what he's going to do is he's going to let Rodimus Prime here go, or was it Otrod at the time, and he's going to let them kill him. But he'll know the Autobot code will stop the would-be traitor from actually killing Hot Rod, and it does well because he lets them all go. Actually, no, sorry, he doesn't let him go. He blames it all on Bludgeon and says, right, you 3 go and kill Bludgeon, and he knows that the Autobot code will stop him from actually killing Bludgeon because obviously it's to cover his own tracks. And he finally finds out where he is. Oh, that was his name, Warmonger. That was a bit of a dodgy name. And he says, I cannot make truth for this, me, I just can't. And so Megatron kills him. And he says, well, to be honest, he goes, I don't know, I would have just killed the lot of you and be done with it. And so here we go. So the next issue is Unicron. It's a bit of a strange one, that one, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, right, so I'm going to put that over there. And we come to issue 227, Aspects of Evil Part 5. Unicron. I can't remember the exact storyline. More A to Z there. Prowl, Ramhorn. So this is the third coming or something of Unicron. And actually wasn't Unicron. He had managed to infect the Matrix somehow, and actually had taken over Rodimus Prime. And there he is. See, there's Rodimus Prime in the middle of that shell of Unicron. And it has this guy here saying, he goes, "Ha, you're making it all up as you go along. How could one such as you have bested Unicron? Senile old fool, your memory's playing tricks on you. I came here to find out about Unicron, or I get a lecture on some evil has-beens and a work of fiction. Or get this, Autobot fool, I'm going to find Unicron for myself. And when I do, you'll really understand the meaning of evil." And he rips off his Autobot insignia. What could have brought that on? Unless, oh no, it started again. I did that. I used my words to turn him, bring out his evil side. Matrix, help me, I'm weakening, letting his evil powers hold sway once more. No. And deep within a Prime, a chilling voice chuckles, thinking, soon, soon. And like I said, that's why they thought it was Tarantulas, because I think he was the spawn of Unicron or something, like him and the Triprodicus Council or something like that, which is quite cool. Anyway, so we have more comic colour in black and white. They do get colour back in this comic, but it does take a little bit of time. More Aspects of Evil, and now we're going to feature the only comic appearance of Double Dealer, well, in the back in the Marvel UK universe anyway. Here we have Double Dealer, 2 more satisfied customers. Weren't a bad story, it's a throwaway story, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got more Headhunt, more adverts for the Sleaze Brothers, they're trying to pump that out, aren't they? Double Deal of the Century, and it's, yeah, not really much of a storyline really, just features Thing and being double crossed by Double Dealer. That is it, never shows up again. Yeah, just because people wanted him and they got him, and that was it. Shame really. There we go. What's next? Oh, this is a good storyline. I do like this. This was reprinted later on in, I think, the final annual, which I'll come to whenever I get to that. This was, oh, I can't remember what the actual name of the story was, but it was really good. I do like it. Here we go, another cover there for your calendar. Oh, the Hunting Party. This is the new Decepticon Mayhem attack squad featuring Spinister, Needlenose, Stranglehold, Octopunch, Snarler, and Quake. I think Quake's part of it. I'm not totally sure. Can't remember now. But they go on this hunting party trying to track down. They manage to track down all these Autobots and that, and they manage to blast them and kill them. Apart from Needlenose, he runs scared, but Spinister's hoping that he wouldn't, because he's quite his friend, I suppose. But he does, and he managed to prove himself in the end by killing Slag, because he thought his mate Spinister there was in danger. And he come through, and they said, well, the Decepticon High Command have attacked this new Mayhem attack squad. And he goes, right, well, we're going after Catilla and Carnavac. He goes, we can't let them live. And that's a good storyline coming up, which was Hunted, or whatever it was called. Like I say, it was later reprinted in the last annual, and in full colour. So if you do want to read that storyline properly, it was coloured in for that, which was pretty good. There we go, Surrender. Right, so we're going to come to the final issue of this part of the review. This is Nightbeat. And we go to Resurrection, Part 2. That was a good storyline. That was in its heyday, wasn't it? So there we go. And it shows how far this comic's come. There we go. So this is just basically trying to track down the death of a couple of what sort of something washed up on the beach, and we got Nightbeat there as his usual PI self trying to figure out who done it. Eventually he does, but usually I think Siren actually tracks him down first and brings him to him, which is of course Thunderwing. Everybody wanted Thunderwing in the comic, and finally he turned up. Thunderwing, in my opinion, was definitely one of the best later characters, especially Decepticons, because he was a dead hard nuts, and that's all you needed. And I would love to have seen a decent storyline featuring him and Megatron. That would have been pretty cool. But we never got it. Instead, it went probably the best way with him turning towards the Matrix, which was a great storyline. More Combat Colin, and we got Action Force. And then the next week, we got more Thunderwing and Dread Tidings there. Right, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I'll be back next time with part 25. I'm really getting through these comics now. Yeah, it shouldn't be too long before I reach the end. Well, I'm doing them because I'm doing the reviews quite frequently here, but I'm not going to upload them because, you know, what's the point? I don't want to rush it, do we? Unless people really want me to, but there we go. Anyway, right, so I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.